So one of the coolest parts about paintball, like back in the day, we'll say like 20 plus years ago, was that you could kind of get a paintball gun and like make it your own. You could spruce it up, buy some upgrades and kind of make it cool. Because there really wasn't a lot of variety. I mean, like 20 years ago, there were really Angels, Automags, and Autocockers. Those three guns were all very popular. And I'll say that like, I don't know, maybe 90% of people that were serious about paintball were using one of those three guns. So having not a lot of variety, one of the fun things to do was, add upgrades. But it was kind of necessary at one point too, because back in the day when you bought a paintball gun, it didn't really come complete. They all came with really kind of terrible one-piece barrels. They didn't come with on-off ASAs. They came with these really tall, crazy tall feed necks that just made the whole gun like 2 feet tall. So it was really difficult to play with. So a lot of people, like out of necessity, were buying upgrades. They were getting good barrel kits, like that Freak barrel kit was popular even 20 years ago. Guys were buying lower rise feed necks. You had to buy an on-off ASA. So there were a lot of people upgrading guns to kind of make them custom, to have something unique because everyone was kind of using the same thing. And guys were buying upgrades kind of because it was necessary, because a lot of these paintball guns, like those Angel, Autocockers, and Automags, just didn't come complete and you kind of needed to buy a lot of stuff. So that kind of sucks though. You bought a paintball gun, you got to spend like $400 on a bunch of parts to make it work. So what a lot of the manufacturers kind of did gradually over time was just, incorporate those upgrades. So most of the paintball guns now, really, if you're spending over like $400, are coming with really good barrels. They come with like good feed necks, good triggers. They do come with an on-off ASA. So they're kind of complete now. I think something we've kind of lost over the years, because these guns have kind of come from the manufacturers completed, is the ability to kind of customize paintball guns and make them a little bit of your own. So last year, the years are getting confusing with COVID. Yeah, last year. So I did last year was took an Autococker, one of those older style paintball guns that they made tons of upgrades for. They even made so many upgrades for these guns that you can just buy individual parts and like build your own. And that's kind of what I did last year. So I got a body from Meteor. We used a bunch of Inception design parts, got a very good barrel kit from Planet Eclipse in the FL barrel kit, and we just kind of built myself an Autococker. So this year we're kind of going to do the same thing, but with the Emek from Planet Eclipse. So the Emek is a budget paintball gun coming in at $250 now. So buying a lot of upgrades for it might not make a lot of sense because it's so cheap. You don't want to spend $700 on upgrades, but we're going to do that. So the whole reason we're using the Emek is because I love the Emek. I think it's one of the best paintball guns you can buy right now. It's $250 and shoots and performs like a high-end gun. But that's kind of the problem, right? It's so popular and so good. You go to the paintball field and like 80% of the people have them or something like that. It's like Emek, 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 Emek. It just gets tiresome, right? Everyone's got the things. So to make my Emek a little bit more personal and have it be my own ultimate Emek, I kind of like cruised the internet and just looked for all the parts that I wanted, contacted those companies, and they were all gracious enough to help and provide all this stuff. So I got all this stuff for free to help build this cool Emek video series. So we're going to use the Planet Eclipse Emek and also put a cool body on it. We're going to use the twister body along with the matching eye covers, that matching back cap. Gonna put a pops on off on the bottom of this thing. I'm gonna use a couple parts from Super Stanchi Customs as well. Gonna use the stainless steel thumb screw for the feed neck from him. Gonna use a tool kit. It actually is a very cool product that goes in the bottom of the foregrip. His soft tip bolt. For the barrel, we're gonna go with the Field 1 AccuLock light kit. And on the inside, we're gonna put the Deadly Wind hair trigger, which really just makes this thing a very light trigger, really cool. And then the infamous trigger on the outside to kind of pair with that hair trigger. So there's a lot of other parts we could have done, right? Like there's all kinds of like crazy things, but to keep this more reasonable and not go insane, those are the parts we're using. If you want to check back next week, we're going to have the second part of this thing. We're going to discuss more of the outside of this. So I'm going to talk more about that Emek, that twister body kit, and that matching eye covers, that back cap, some of those super stanchy things like that tool kit, as well as the stainless steel thumb screw and that pops on off and the AccuLock barrel kit. So come back next week for more details on the stuff on the outside of the Emek.